This week has, in a sense, marked a turning point in Washington's view of the Iraq war. On Wednesday, President Bush conceded there were parallels between Iraq and Vietnam, and the American military have acknowledged that a 2-month security operation in Baghdad has failed in its objective to reduce the violence. It's not easy for journalists to move around Iraq for obvious security reasons, but one veteran British war correspondent, Patrick Cockburn, has spent some time travelling in Iraq, and he's written a new book called The Occupation about his experiences and assessment of the situation there. I asked him first if he believed that the Bush administration has begun to accept that things in Iraq are not quite going to plan.
Well, to put it another way, I think it's becoming very difficult to deny that things aren't going to plan. I mean, up to the present moment, there has been denial both in Washington and London that they're doing anything except staying on course. It's becoming very difficult to deny this at the moment.
Do you think people then are not getting the true picture of what's going on in Iraq?
Not really. People, even now, say to me, is it as bad as they say? And I always say to them, which is true, it's worse, it's much worse. But the paradoxical thing about being a journalist in Baghdad in recent years is that you can hear from, let's say, the US that we never report the good news, that there are provinces that are at peace. I always say, where are they? I'll go to them immediately. But of course they're not there, and I can't disprove it. Because if I tried to, if I went to these so-called peaceful provinces, I'd get my throat cut.
But precisely, well, how do you know what's going on? Because you can't travel freely in Iraq. So how can you say with confidence that you think that things are much worse than people are saying?
Well, there are ways you can do it. I mean, I was a couple of weeks ago in Diyala province. It's northeast of Baghdad. It's Ireland. But you can, going with the Iraqi army, in this case with Kurdish troops, I was able to get into one corner of it, to talk to the federal police there, to talk to other members of the council. You can get information. And of course you can get information from refugees who are fleeing from these provinces. And you can talk to those. For instance, I often go and talk to Iraqi truck drivers, have much better information than ever comes out of the green zone on what's truly dangerous. So you can find it out, even without going there personally.
You covered the civil war in Lebanon, which went on for nearly 20 years. When you see what's going on in Iraq now, does it strike you that it's like Lebanon on a bad day? In other words, Iraq is actually in civil war?
Yeah, I wish I could say no, but it really is true now. You feel the same terror of people, what's the next checkpoint and who's manning it? I mean, which you felt, I remember feeling that in Lebanon during the Civil War, always watching the road ahead, and you feel that in Baghdad now. The last time I came from the airport, it took me 3 times to my hotel. It took me 3 times as long as normal. The reason was my driver, who's a Sunni, was terrified that there would be a checkpoint manned by death squads, Shiite death squads, maybe the police, maybe police commandos, anybody. So he was weaving around through West Baghdad, going down Main Street, shooting down alleyways to try and avoid the checkpoints where he might be hauled out of the car and killed.
You mentioned the Iraqi army. We're told by the Americans that American soldiers will stand down as Iraqi security forces stand up. I mean, are they capable of trying to maintain some degree of control and fight the violence?
Unfortunately not, no. The army keeps on increasing in numbers, there's more training, but it's completely divided. It's not, it's a participant in the civil war, not really an opponent. I was in Mosul recently, the largest city in northern Iraq. There are 2 army divisions there, but they're primarily Kurdish. They can't be used against the majority, who are Sunni Arabs. They don't even patrol during the daytime. The whole of the police force of Mosul province, 16,000 strong, is Sunni Arab. And nobody who I spoke to there has any doubts that they're sympathetic with the insurgency. So just increasing the number of the security forces isn't going to work. And you can see that every province I've been in, that the army is either Sunni or Shia or Kurd. So it can't be used as an instrument to prevent the civil war.
So do you basically now see Iraq as consisting of 3 parts, the Sunni parts, wherever they may be, the Shia and the Kurdish regions?
Yes, I mean, it's federalism at the point of a gun. I mean, if I am a Shia and I go wander into a Sunni district in Baghdad or anywhere in the Sunni provinces, I'm likely to be killed. Likewise, Sunni can't move within Baghdad. Baghdad's broken up really into a dozen different cities. You can't move freely within the city. It depends on what your sectarian background, whether you're a Sunni or a Shia. So in that sense, the civil war has already begun. The country has broken up.
The journalist and writer Patrick Cockburn.